Well, here we are with our guide and hire car in place, off to see the military propaganda from North Vietnam. First stop's the Museum of Military History of Vietnam. Looks good from the outside. Plenty of statues and paintings and info from our guide, and all sorts of showcases with bits and pieces. Murals. Radar set up on the left hand side there, supplied by the Russians in order to track the B-52s. You can see it on the left hand side there as well. AK-47 and an aerial shot. Rocket launchers used to combat the B-52s and the Unification Tower. Plenty of cannons, looks like Howitzer 105s or similar, with a Huey, always Hueys. This looks like a Wirraway or a Seahawk. A nice sculpture from bits and pieces. The missile launcher from the Battalion 77. Another shot of the missile launchers. Plenty of bomb carcasses, there's heaps of them. Seems like a lot of bombs never went off. They're not in pieces, they're all fully intact. Of course, I hope disarmed. But plenty of bomb carcasses. Also plenty of tanks. And what looks like a DC-3, but made in Russia. More tanks. A lot of this hardware's outside, so it's prone to weather wear, I should imagine. Grenade launchers and rifles, and what, another tank. Then a mock-up of some jungle depicting where the VC used to operate, and a Renault car that was used during the conflict. Looks pretty smart. Bits and pieces of used planes, more rifles, and good wall hanging propaganda. Back outside again with more tanks and bombs. Plenty of tanks. And the CH-47, the old Pachyderm. Chinook. I'm amazed how all these planes and tanks and everything are in one piece. Is it an F-111 I've seen? They were against the rules. MiG built in China? And the Unification Tower. That was the Museum of Military History of Vietnam. This is a new museum devoted to the B-52s. And there's plenty of bits and pieces of B-52s. Some of the statistics. Anti-aircraft guns used to fight the B-52s. And of course the proverbial old engines, rocket launchers, propaganda on the wall, and a photograph of Ho making a speech. This is the capturing of an American pilot that had been shot down in the ocean, and photographs of a B-52 bombing. Information on a Phantom F4 and the old LBJ. Back outside, and the missile launchers. Plenty of them. The entrance to the B-52 museum, and looking out back across the front yard. Quite a few murals depicting the war or the bombing of Hanoi, and of course plenty of wreckage. Next port of call, the Hanoi prison. One of the things that we most wanted to see. Of course you pay to get in, it's now a museum, and this is the main entrance to the museum. Bit of information regarding the Hanoi prison. It did seem to go back many, many years, and a lot of French interned there, incarcerated. A picture of the earlier entrance gates, and the original entrance gates inside, cleaned up a bit. Photograph from inside in the early days, and a bit of information. The causes of death and the number of deaths in the Hanoi prison, 1920 to 1921. Set up quite well, nice and clean and neat and tidy. Photographs of some of the prisoners. Doesn't look too comfortable. These were statues that were set out and were to depict French prisoners. Never seen a prison where they kept prisoners like this, all clamped in leg irons. But well set up these days. Solitary confinement. Closer shot of the leg irons. This is outside, where there was a tree that grew almonds. A bit of information about the almond tree. Thought to be good luck by the prisoners. Murals depicting the life in the prison. And this is about the escape of some of the prisoners through this hole in the sewerage system. Preserved and set up outside in the yard. Doesn't look too inviting. Some pictures and objects of the United States pilot in the Hanoi prison. Which is one of the reasons we came to Hanoi, to see this. We are taught that B-52s are used to bomb targets of extremely large-scale military complexes. Well, here's a few photographs of the damage done by B-52s, according to the North Vietnamese. Even hospitals and churches also become targets. Does seem to be a little one-sided, the wording of these things. Taken from pilots that were shot down over North Vietnam. Flight suit, parachute. bed supposedly used by the American prisoners, clothing, knickknacks, bits and pieces. And there were quite a few photos in photo albums of the American prisoners that were held incarcerated here at Harlow, and quite a bit of information about them. Still a little one-sided, on their side of course. Apparently Americans at Christmas time getting letters from home, photographs from their families. They must have been treated really well there. It's not the story the prisoners give, or what we hear. A message from Ho. Now we come across a section where they had a guillotine that was used during the French incarcerations. Very blood-curdling to think that that machine was used to cut people's heads off. A message from Richard Nixon, and of course a message from Ho. At the end of a great few hours, we bid farewell to our guide and our car. Carol and I head off back to the Green Diamond Hotel. A great tour.